Coming up on this week's podcast, we discuss whether we should be teaching kids to be more polite through smart devices. Martin shares his thoughts on the Olympic Games, including eSports. And Allan asks, are there any good video game movies? You're listening to the 3 Pixels Tech, Gaming and Movie Podcast, brought to you by Allan Taylor, Martin Gregory and me, Ben Ridley. Hello and welcome back to the 3 Pixels podcast. It is lovely to be back. As lovely as it is for me to be hosting it again, I am feeling much better. Thank you for asking. And this is episode number 7. We are blasting through, getting amazing results, and we're just really excited with all the stuff that's going on right now. Hope you guys are enjoying it too. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to make sure you never miss an episode. But let's dive into this episode, and I'll start off by introducing a lovely co-host here, Martin.
Hello.
And equally lovely co-host, Allan.
Hello.
And without further ado, let's just dive straight into the first bit of news. I know you guys want to hear it. Let's go to the Tech Corner. So the first topic we're going to talk about in this episode is all to do with hotel door locks. Now, many of you that travel and visit different hotels will have inevitably been cursed by the key card entry system in most hotels. It's a global way of entering hotel rooms. It's a global way of giving people keys. It's efficient, it's easy, it mostly doesn't work, let's be honest. We've all been there trying to enter a card many times into a door and it not letting you in. We've all been there. Sometimes might have been in the wrong room, but regarding that, unfortunately, this way of entry might have to change with the moving times. We're learning that hackers have been developing a way to enter hotel doors without actually needing the key or even needing to get their hands on a master key. They're creating their own master key and doing it without having left a trace in any hotel activity log system. However, don't panic. F2Ep7 team have said it's worked with the lock makers over the past year to create a fix. So the Swedish manufacturer is playing down the risk to those hotels that have yet to install the update. Vision Software is a 20-year-old product which has been compromised after 12 years and the thousands of hours of intensive work by 2 employees at F2Ep7, said a spokesperson for the company recently. These old locks represent only a small fraction, and those ones are being rapidly replaced with new technology. She added that hotels have begun deploying the fix almost 2 months ago. But this, I think, does bring out a bigger question. As the door entry system become more modernized, become heavily technology integrated with key cards, is this a problem? Is this a security problem for people? Is this going to make any one of us in this room think twice about the security that we have in the hotel rooms that we may visit in the near future? Martin, is it worth throwing over to you for this?
Thank you for throwing over first, because yes and no. I'm probably one of the worst people when it comes to security. Before I leave my house, I have to check it like 10 times to be like, okay, it's locked. The chances of it happening to me where someone's going to come into my room and take something is very slim. As also, what are they going to take? My dirty laundry? Like, I really take hardly anything to these sort of places. If it's something valuable, I'll have it on me. Like, probably the most valuable thing I'd probably have on me anyway would be my Mac. And I would take that anywhere. I wouldn't trust that in a hotel room in the first place, or I'd put it in like a safe that hotels do provide. It's
really great you said that, Martin. I just want to interject slightly. That's because right. This whole thing became a problem when the F2Ep7 researchers said that they'd found that someone's laptop had been stolen from a hotel room, and the thief was able to get into the room, and they didn't have authorized access, and they did it without leaving a single trace. They had no idea who physically put the card on the door. They had no trace in the system. So they wanted to then find out whether it was possible to bypass the electronic lock without leaving a trace. Only after we thoroughly understood how it was designed were we able to see the shortcomings and come up with a method for creating master keys, and then of course find out how they can fix that and solve it for people in the future. So yeah, you touched on the safe things. That obviously is a very important way of keeping your stuff safe, even if it just covers you for insurance reasons. If you've got insurance on your kit and think, oh, it doesn't matter, I can leave it in the room. Insurance companies are very famous for wanting to find their way out of paying for things. If you've not put something in the safe and there is a safe in the room, they will immediately say, well, you should have put it in the safe, so we're not going to pay up. Allan, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if I misheard or missed something.
Of course.
Didn't you say that it's, well, one, is only affecting a small number of systems, and two, they're already putting in places to fix it?
So the lock systems that are in place are being used by some of the world's biggest hotel chains. So we're talking about Intercontinental, Hyatt, Radisson, the Sheraton. It hasn't been disclosed every single property that has been compromised. So it is a version of Vision, is the software by a Ving card system. So, those are some pretty big names, especially in America. They are really, really popular hotel chains, have thousands of hotels. And so there are some of these in the UK as well. It's a big chain, actually, as it says, one of the world's biggest. So it's not a small problem by any means.
But what big chain doesn't have cameras down every single corridor?
You say that, but I haven't really seen them, unless they try to be really discreet about it. You say big change. Well, you don't really expect people to start taking your stuff, really.
Well, why do we have locks in the first place?
This is true. This is I can't argue that statement there. Why do we have locks? Well, that is the reason. You'd feel like the average common man or the person next to you won't go into your room and take your stuff. And if these are big changes, as you said, Ben, then it is quite alarming, really. And I think it would put people off, especially like my dad. He is really into security. I'll tell you, he's banned from watching stuff like Watchdog and stuff like that. And I'm not even joking. He got really I need to check outside. And I'm not joking. He is now banned from the house from watching this sort of stuff. And I can understand people like him definitely would be I'm going to try and avoid these sort of key cards like that. Like I said, chances of it happening to you are quite slim. There are safes there. You put your jewelry.
And also, didn't you say there was only one case of this actually happening?
So one case they knew about that sparked this, and then they did the investigation and said that, this actually could be a bigger thing, but they just don't know about it. It depends on the hotel chains actually reporting it, because if they report it, then they have to admit that they've got security problems. So it's kind of a complex issue. And I know that security cameras do help in kind of resolving a lot of these. But all you got to think of, security cameras are useful when you've got an idea of when something might have been taken, because you can look at that kind of time. But busy hotels, especially with large hotel floors, you're not going to have cameras throughout the whole floor. You'll know that they've come out of the lift and gone into a corridor, but you don't know who did it, because you wouldn't know exactly when it would have happened. You could have been out the whole day. It could have happened anytime in 6-7 hours. You're at a busy conference, something like that, you might be away from your hotel room for. So I think the best thing here is to say that don't ever be complacent in technology, especially when it comes to things like electronic doors and things like this that other companies have put in. You can't always trust that their systems are up to date. Anything you can do to take security into your own hands is always the best option. There's only so much you can do. You can't always avoid not going to a hotel ever. There's always going to be a problem in some part of the chain, whatever you do. But if you can take the initiative to either take personal items that are important, passports or things like this, with you in your person in a secure place, or don't bring anything you don't need to bring, or use the safe, or sometimes some hotels do have a safe lock security thing at reception or in the office where they can lock things up for you, keep packages safe, things like that. It's always better be safe than sorry.
They did say it was undetectable at times, so you don't know how many times this actually happened. It could be hundreds of times, it could be 1 or 2 times. Maybe it would be interesting to come back to this and see if they have fixed this.
Next up, we're talking about the Amazon Alexa. Sorry if I just activated newer devices. Alexa. Haha. Anyway, we're talking about the device that everyone has, or is seemingly starting to have in their homes and use day to day. And kids love it. I know many, or have heard of many kids that like to interact with their devices and get involved with and play music and mess around with it and all that kind of stuff. It's a great attraction. So Amazon have taken it upon themselves to see how they can make kids a little bit more polite, and the world's a better place if people are polite. So they want to get the Amazon device to reward kids who say please. The new function addresses some parents' concerns that the use of the technology was teaching their offspring to sound officious or even rude. In addition, parents can now set time limits on when requests are responded to and can block some services. The move was welcomed by one of Alexa's critics. In January, the research company Childwise published a report warning that youngsters that grew up accustomed to barking orders at Alexa, Google Assistant, or other virtual personalities might have aggressive in later dealings with humans. So this is seen as a very positive development. They're noticing that none of the children that they talked to said that they had ever used the word please, thank you when talking to the devices. Younger children will enjoy having the added interactivity, but older children may be less likely to use it as they'll be more aware it's a robot at the other end. The new facilities have been announced only in the US, where they will become available on the 9th of May via a software update. Not sure about the rest of the world yet. So technology, politeness, is this important, especially coming with our kids? Do you think that if we're not careful, devices like this that we interact with almost like a human could train us, younger kids especially, to talk in a way that wouldn't be acceptable in society?
What rewards are they getting?
So, for example, if a child asks, "What will the weather be today, please?" Alexa says, "Thanks for asking so nicely." Likewise, when Alexa has completed the task, if the child says thank you, it will prompt one of several follow-ups, including "No worries" or "You're welcome."
I'm not going to set an alarm until you say please.
Toy maker Mattel had previously considered going further with its aborted smart speaker Aristotle. They had found that saying "you will not get this if you do not say please" is not a useful thing for kids, obviously, and doesn't work. They'll just find a way around it or just not interact with it in the first place. So they're thinking that positive encouragement by getting a nice response, going, "Oh, thank you," like people would in real life, interact. If someone was polite, they would have some sort of response because of that.
So what happens when you're rude to Alexa at the minute? I remember once someone said something rude to Siri and she was like, "I was only trying to help."
Some of them do have different witty responses. It really depends on the device and this and that. But yeah, they do sometimes have some quite interesting responses to some of the things you may say. But they don't really go, "Oh, I'm so glad you asked nicely," or something like that. That doesn't really happen.
It just doesn't seem real to me anymore. I was brought up by my mum and dad to say please and thank you, be polite at all times. And isn't that like the parents' job to teach their kids to be polite in the first place? And I know it's like a bit of a reminder, it's sort of in your life. It just seems quite weird about it. It just gives me an unnerving feeling about it. That's all.
I bet there are going to be plenty of parents who are going to leave the raising of the children to Alexa. In a dystopian
you joke
future.
about this, but like...
I'm not joking.
It sounded like a joke. People do just throw iPads at their children and stuff, and you just think...
That's abuse.
to launch one at their head. I know that some parents probably would love to do that when they're just being absolute horror monsters. But it has come to this point where they're becoming so integrated with technology, which has its positives and its negatives, but it just seems like now we're just becoming really self-reliant on it almost. It's like it's making those small steps towards it, just becoming now self-reliant on technology to teach our kids and to grow them up at times. Maybe I'm seeing too much of the big picture, but it just seems really strange to me to talk to an inanimate object and say please and thank you. I just found that quite strange.
It's a positive reinforcement, right? Every single time you say please or thank you, she will give you that positive response. I'm sure there are plenty of human being parents that if a kid did say please or thank you, their parent might be in a bad mood or something. It might have a negative effect or something. I don't know. I don't see this being a problem as an additive thing to help.
I think you guys are kind of going a little bit off the point.
You're
on the right. You're making valid points, but I think in this case, I think the best thing to say is that this technology, these devices are in people's homes today. There's no escaping from it. They are growing, they're getting popular. And I wouldn't say that it's a way of educating kids or even being marketed as a way of educating kids on how to be polite instead of their parents. What I feel is that this assistant is becoming another person in the home that the kid interacts with every day on top of their parents. So it's another opportunity to help encourage kids to be polite. It's not it's not reliant on teaching kids what to do right. It's that you'd expect that parents would encourage kids to be polite and do the right thing. And whatever smart device should also continue that encouragement so they're not getting mixed feelings or mixed responses. If they're being polite to their parents, hopefully the parents should give the same response back. If they're being polite to the voice assistants, they're getting that same response. I think it's seen as a way of integrating that person into the daily lives of the family and not just using it as this is a dummy or this is a tool to learn you the right and wrong.
Why is it only for kids? There are plenty of adults.
That was so aggressive. Why is it only for kids?
Why? There are plenty of rude adults that could use this.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I thought, I'm sure that some parents are just rude a lot of the time.
Well, adults in general, even people who don't have kids. If this just boils down to Alexa is just being more friendly, that's fine.
Yeah.
But friendly to everyone, surely.
Well, I mean,
If
they're
I
not
s-
going to be able to tell whether it's just a kid or not. I think they will be friendly to everyone, but it's a move targeted towards kids.
Yeah. Oh, Alan.
What? What were you going to say?
Exactly the same, actually. I thought there are definitely adults out there, and I still feel a bit strange about this. I recognise what Ben just said, that it is becoming like its own being, like its own person. It's,
Yeah, it's
like
a member
of
of the
a family.
Enough people have them, and enough people will have them in the future.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That kids growing up with it, they will not distinguish it like from, I don't know, family members, pets, whatever. It will be a part of their lives.
Yeah.
If you see a kid treating an animal poorly, that's a bad sign. And
Yeah,
I
definitely.
bet the exact same thing applies to if a kid is treating an AI poorly. So encourage them to treat it well. That's fine.
Is this going to encourage kids to be better human beings, or is this a move in a direction that you don't like? hello@the3pixels.com is a place to email, at 3pixelspod, or Facebook. Search us up on there as well. You'll find us there.
Get a life. I'm a gamer. I've got plenty of lives.
Let's dive straight over to the Gaming Corner with Martin. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Ben. Paris 2024 Olympics. Esports in talks to be included as a demonstration sport. Ben is not convinced that we talked about this before. And
I don't remember this. I
I'm
must have
pretty
a
sure we
concussion or
talked about this about 2 weeks ago, or 2 podcasts ago, I should say, realistically. Competitive video games will be a medal event at the 2022 Asian Games already, as well as in October, the IOC said it's open to exploring the possibility of including esports in future games, before stating a November summit it could be considered a sporting activity but must not infringe on Olympic values in order to be recognised as a sport. What they mean by that, they don't want any violent video games inside the Olympics, which is for obvious reasons. They don't want to spread any hate or any war across any platform, as well as they would like Paris to be one day become an esports hub for Europe, which is quite a big possibility, because when you're the first of something, especially a massive country like France who have big influence across the world, they could quite simply become a juggernaut in esports. I don't want to dwell on this for too much, but in my honest opinion, I feel this is a good way to get younger generations who are invested in video games to start liking the Olympics more, and they could start branching out into other sports, like your traditional sports and hockey, badminton, etc., etc. Got anything to say, gents?
Do they say what games they're going to play at the Asian one?
No.
You said they're not going to have any games with conflict in, but how are they going to have a competitive game without, what, Mario Kart?
This is what
Super Mario Brothers.
it could be.
Not Super
Yeah, it could be
Brothers.
Mario Kart.
Well, that is fighting.
No, Smash Brothers. Smash Bros. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
fighting.
that. That's not though.
Or it could be Gran Turismo 4. Oh.
I think games like Street Fighter, they're not violent, like graphically violent. Like they're not like there's no blood, there's no like. I think cartoon like fighting or things like that is fine.
Yeah, I guess like Call of Duty's out, your
Yeah,
Battlefield,
I think that's what it
that's
means.
all gone.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
is
they're not really esport. I mean, StarCraft,
yeah,
Dota 2.
Call of Duty has an
League of
esports scene.
Legends.
Really?
It does.
Yes,
Yeah.
a very big. You can earn a lot of money doing Call of Duty esports.
Yep.
There's a big
Okay.
teams. They've been
Come
running for
on,
many
think
years.
of FaZe and that lot. They were
All right, I don't know.
massive.
Do you watch the Olympics?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you watch esports?
Very rarely. The last year or so, I've not dabbled at all.
Okay, so you've been picked by Great Britain to represent
Well,
us
we're not winning anything this year then.
in esports. What game would you play?
What game would I play? Super Meat Boy would be one. But then again,
Like
that's
a
got...
time challenge.
Yeah, I guess it would just be stuff like that. That's...
So the game you're best at is Super Meat Boy.
Oh, no, I'm not
That's
saying-
very impressive.
No. I'm not saying I'm the best at it.
No,
But
I'm
that-
saying the game that you are best
Oh,
at
I
is
see. I
Super
think you
Meat
said
Boy.
what would be a good game for me to... what would be the best game that I'm good at? Well, there's not many good games that I'm good at, I'm telling you.
Football Manager.
It probably would be Football Manager. There you go, there's one. Football Manager.
All right, Martin.
I challenge anyone to a game of Football Manager. I
They've
honestly
brought
challenge
Football
them.
Manager to the Olympics. You need to represent us.
Well, it's the
You're
only
the only
time England will ever get a medal in football. It'll be Football Manager. Honestly, that is an actual challenge to anyone. I will play them at Football Manager.
All right, Ben, same question to you. If you have to represent England or Great Britain at one game at esports, what would you choose?
Just a quick note before I do say my answer. By the way, Football Manager is coming to the Switch, so
Yes, it's the Football Manager Touch. I
Yeah,
saw.
it's coming to the Switch. So
There's the console they'll be playing on.
Switch as well. Can't
yeah,
wait.
you can play on the train. You can get prepared. You can
I'm always
rocky
prepared.
it up.
You can do laps while playing on the
Just
Switch.
to put it out there, I have nearly 1,500 hours of Football Manager experience
Wow.
from
You probably
2014.
shouldn't tell people that.
I'm a
So
sad
this,
person.
this is going out.
Yeah, I'm
People
a
are going to hear
sad
this.
person.
People are listening right now and judging you.
That's fine. I feel like this is time well spent.
Martin's the number one Football Manager player. He's not embarrassed.
I'm not very
not
pretty
at all.
excited.
He's got a gold medal in Football Manager.
I wish. Crown me, please.
So I think I would have to go for a game I know inside out and have the most hours on, which is Burnout Paradise. I'm sorry, I have to go for it. Might seem like an obvious to some people who know me. I adore that game. I know the map. I know all the shortcuts. I get so much fun out of that. So me having to train for esports as well, because normally when you train for sport, you spend a lot of hours playing. I would love every moment of that. So it's got to be a game I can tolerate. So definitely not anything shooter, because I would get frustrated within the first hour and then that would be it. I would quit my career immediately. So Burnout Paradise, yes, 100%. 1v1 me, bro.
And yourself, Alan. Sorry.
I was actually, as Ben was talking, I was just thinking I don't actually have an answer prepared. So I
Great.
don't know.
He asked us and he's
Should we
answer.
pick a
Yeah,
game
well-
for you?
Huh?
Should we pick a game for you?
The Witcher.
No, it's not competitive. I don't play a lot of competitive multiplayer games, to be honest. I'm very much into single player games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, if we're going to have an esport for the Olympics, it's going to be something like League of Legends or
But that's
one of
already
these
got a massive
really
scene.
major. Yeah, you've got to have something that's already big. I mean, League of Legends is already filling stadiums with matches. It's got to have something with a big following. Otherwise, they
It'd
probably
just
won't see it as
fall dead,
worthwhile.
yeah.
Exactly. So, all joking aside, it's probably going to be something like League of Legends.
Could be League of Legends, could be Dota.
Yeah, I mean, games like that
Yeah.
or have already got these massive shows attached to them.
Football is an Olympic event. And
As
that
in
is
the
a-
actual sport football.
Yeah, well, yes, as in football. Not Football Manager, we're talking football itself. It has an Olympic event. It has also massive competitions around the world, like European competitions, South, North American competitions, as well as the World Cup itself. And that was a way to get football fans to start watching the Olympics. So I can definitely see stuff like League of Legends, that does have a big following, as Ben says, to come over. It's just another big novelty. You even have the Commonwealth Games and stuff like that, that come from all this. So definitely it could become bigger than itself. And to think you could represent your country on a national, global scale where people have never seen an esports game and have no idea are now watching you. That is massive. That is as close to what I would call a football World Cup that something like League of Legends could come to. It's a big novelty thing.
So let us know at home, what game would be your esports game if you had to represent your country in the Olympics?
And remember, I'll challenge anyone at Football Manager.
If you want to challenge Martin, then just get in touch. You email him. It's martin@the3pixels.com. Drop him an email. Send him your stats or whatever it is. I don't know what people do on Football Manager. And then,
mate, that's nothing, all your hours.
yeah, please do so, because we'll get a lot of entertainment here. And we might just read out your message as well on the podcast.
I'm probably going to get trashed by some...
Please. I mean, we encourage it, don't we, Alan?
Yeah, well, I mean, number one, Martin Gregory can't hold the throne forever.
Exactly.
Heavy
Number
lies of
one.
the crown.
So we're going to get trashed like 8-0. And I'm like, oh. So that's all I got for this time round. I'll hand it back over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Martin. And with that, we'll head over to the movie corner with Alan.
So, as you know, I have an actual day job. And
Really?
Yeah. And
News to
I've
me.
been pretty busy every weekend, every evening. So I've not really seen any movies since A Quiet
Oh,
Place.
I'm hearing an excuse.
Yeah,
that's
that's an
what we're
excuse.
getting. Okay.
Sound the klaxon. I want to stay away from this conversation now.
I did what you guys did, and I spent 20 seconds looking for a news article.
Hang on,
just
I spent
beforehand.
20 minutes.
Excuse me. I have been looking for weeks to find the perfect topic.
Great. A new Doom movie might be coming out. No, Martin just rolled his eyes, and that's the perfect reaction, because recently, Rampage came out, which is a video game adaptation,
Yes.
and we all saw that.
We did, yeah.
And if you haven't heard the podcast, if you haven't heard the first impressions, go check that out. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was also in Doom, pretty much wrote it off recently before Rampage came out, saying, Yeah, that was an awful adaptation. Go see Rampage. And I was just going to talk to you guys about what is your worst, mainly for Martin, I guess, but Ben, you'll have some opinions as well. What is your worst and best video game movie? So first of all, Martin, the best one. Let's start positively.
Well,
What's
I can't
your
even think of
favorite?
one. I honestly can't even think of one.
Any video. By the way, I'm excluding any of Uwe Boll's movies because they're not even worth talking about. You know, Uwe Boll, he's the guy that did Blood Rain,
Yes,
Dead Rock, just like bad games, and he's made bad movies of them.
Give me a sec. I'm gonna have to look. I now have to look online and think, what?
Okay, did you enjoy? Because one of my favorite ones is Silent Hill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was
I enjoy it. I mean, I know it's not great, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. That movie had Sean Bean in it, for one. I also really enjoyed the Mortal Kombat movie, the first one.
Yeah.
That was
no.
Yes.
I just realised what you just said. No, that was terrible.
Oh, it was great.
Can we all spend a moment just shedding a tear for the Assassin's Creed movie that could have been so good but was so horribly awful?
So I don't think that was ever going to be good.
Really? Oh, it had potential.
No, it didn't.
Little bit.
Well, it did because it had two great actors and a great director
Exactly.
behind it. But the best thing about Assassin's Creed is the gameplay.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah.
The story is nonsense.
That's the problem with quite a lot of these games that are turned into films. Like they want to do the same with the Uncharted. The Uncharted story, if you really break it down, is fairly basic. It's one of this classic, guy goes after treasure, girl he's with gets in trouble, there's
Knock
a
off
bad
Indiana
guy.
Jones.
Exactly. Like they want to make an Uncharted film. I'm like, why? The gameplay that Naughty Dog did was the best thing about that game. It had a great story alongside it. I'm not dissing the story in any way, shape, or form. Uncharted, Naughty Dog know how to make a great story, but the gameplay is what pushed that forward and really amplified the story. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest problem here. When you take away the gameplay, then you're left with the true nature of the story sitting there in front of you, glaring at you, and you're like,
I think Assassin's Creed is probably the worst. I think it's actually the worst blockbuster I've ever seen.
I'm going to bring this back to your first question. You said, what is the best
let's
film?
start with best.
My honest answer is, off the top of my head, I can't think of one. And there's a reason why. It's because they're usually, 99% of the time, they're just terrible adaptations. What I mean is, in games, you control the character. You make the decisions. Look at Fallout. You scape the landscape with your decisions, your choice making. It was all down to you. You could change the landscape of an entire game. It made you feel important. Films are already predetermined. There's a start, middle, end. It doesn't always end up that way. Sometimes it's the end, middle, beginning, when they want to go back, oh, this is how he did it. But what I mean is, you as a viewer can't change anything. And that's why we like video games. We like to make choices that matter. We like to envision ourselves as us playing this game, our own choices. Look at Naughty Dog. Didn't enjoy the Uncharted games, but I would never want to see it as an adaptation of a film because people really resonated with the main characters. They understood his struggles. And sometimes that just doesn't come off on the big screen at all.
especially when they try and make them live action, because then they have to find an actual proper actor that does, real acting that is known, a name. They try and find a name that's known, and then that person isn't the person that did the voice acting. So the characters are different because they're different personalities behind them. So then, especially with Uncharted, something as charismatic and entertaining and well written in terms of the character's development as that, it's like, how can you take that and then put that with different actors in a different scenario in a live action?
I've talked about this before, and I might have said this about 4 or 5 times, but I'm going to say it until people's ears bleed and go, Martin, I've had enough of you saying about this. Is look at the NBA 2K series. Right now, in 2015, they made like a story mode where they got motion capture on all these actors, and they made a story out of it.
Was that the one with Spike Lee?
That's the one, yes.
Yeah, that was awful.
See, you say that, but I got really invested because I felt I was going on this journey as Frequency Jones. I thought, I'm a terrible basketball player, just as a disclosure there. I will not be challenging anyone at a basketball game. However, I felt like a bit of a ride. I felt a connection to my character, your friends around you. I'm talking about NBA 2K15. This is the one I had experience with. And I really enjoyed it. Games are becoming like films in some ways. Look at The Last of Us. That was very, very filmish. It came across to me as.
Resident Evil. That's a movie that they took the game and changed it a lot. And that was still
Yes,
fun.
they did. Yeah, it wasn't a bad film.
So you're both saying there's no good movies that have been adapted from video
I'm
games?
sure there is, but off the top of my head, like I said
They're,
earlier,
they're not memorable.
they're not. And it's just like the Mortal Kombat one that you brought up. Good God, that was a piece of trash.
That was amazing.
It was a steaming hot place of you know what.
I
It was
think
terrible.
you're misremembering.
Oh, I remember. It's like that Super Mario film.
I was literally going to say, can we have an honorable mention for the Super Mario Brothers film?
How
that
bad?
They sunk $48 million into that film, and Walt Disney distributed it.
Yes, they did.
And oh my God, that was a piece of crap.
Did they?
I don't know,
Did they
Dennis
even
Hopper.
have jobs after that? Those two actors?
Who? Bob Hoskins?
Yeah. Did he?
Yes.
Did he?
Bob Hoskins, yeah.
Did he
of
ever
course.
recover?
Of course. And Dennis Hopper did as well.
God, it wasn't. Was it really
Yeah.
good? No.
Dennis Hopper was the bad guy.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone had heard of a video game called Super Mario Brothers and then wrote a script about rumors they'd heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's not trying to be a faithful adaptation. That's like,
But they still got
hey,
the name on it.
The
It's still,
kids
you
are
know,
talking about this.
They still took the
All right.
characters.
Two plumbers.
That's the annoyance though, a lot of them. They take the characters, they take the brand name, and then they do what they want to do with that. They use the name for marketing reasons. They know, oh, people are going to go see it because it's their favorite game character, or, you know, it's a franchise that they know. And a lot of games that get turned into films don't stay truthful enough to the games. They're not able to translate the magic of the game into the actual film.
Wreck-It Ralph is a film about video games, and that was a fantastic film. I think there was pixels. That's a way not to do it, especially with monster movies like your King Kongs, your Godzillas, and even Rampage to a degree. Some of them were originally films turned into games, and it became films. Some of them had games afterwards, or like the Rampage, where it was a game, then it became a film. The biggest problem I have with them, I would probably have said Rampage would have been up there with the best adaptation of a film if it showed more monster fights. And they always tack on some awful love story, or like, oh, this character needs love in its life. And that's the thing that annoys me. It seems like a very cliche, add it to a monster movie, let's show the monster for like 10 minutes, and that's it.
The thing I liked about Rampage was that there wasn't a love story in it. Oh, there was, okay, the love story is between George and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's what I was going to say. But that's fair
fine.
enough. That was one thing it did come away from. It did come away from that love story.
What about War Games? Yeah, the 80s Matthew Broderick
I was
movie.
going to say, yeah.
That was awesome. That was a great movie.
I think we should end it on there. Thank you very much, Allan.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Alan. It is that time of the show where we find out who can find the awkwardest, weirdest, most interesting or funny topic in our competitive mode we like to call Versus. In the last episode, it was Alan versus Martin. They battled it out. I judged them and found that Martin was the victor. So he will be carrying forward against myself, which can mean only one thing. Alan is going to have to be the judge this time. And I won't stall anymore. Without further ado, Alan, you can take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, Martin, because you won last time with your awesome royal plate story,
Yes.
you
It
get
was
to
good.
choose. Would you like to go first, or would you like to go second?
I went second last time, so let's not break habit. I've only won once, so I'll let Ben go first, please.
Absolutely. Ben, give me your weird news story.
I thought you might say that. Okay, so I'm sat here with a photo in front of me of a woman in a field.
Can we all see it?
No,
No,
Okay.
you definitely can't.
we will afterwards, but let
Imagine.
me make this. So stop interrupting me.
All right, sorry, go on.
She's peaceful. She's looking out over the landscape. It looks wonderful, okay? She's holding a hoe, but if you swap that out, this lady, going by the name of Antello, swap it out for a golf club, she could easily pass as the president of the United States, Donald Trump. And she has been causing a lot of a stir because she apparently looks, well, she does look very similar to the famous president. On social media, one local even dubbed her the Donald Trump of Costa da Morte. Next to the image, which was favorited more than 8,000 times and retweeted 4,700 times, she gave an interview to our local newspaper last week about her life, and that's how the image started circulating. It is enough to make you wonder that when he wants some downtime, instead of going to the Mar-a-Lago resort. He should head northeastern Spain instead. Go down the farm, replace the job of the farm worker, and the farm worker gets to sit and make better decisions probably than he does in the president's Oval Office. The photo has traveled across the world, people commenting from all kinds of nations. It's really causing a stir. Yeah, she can't understand it. She's not very techie at all. She has no idea really about how the internet works, and her daughters and family members are showing her this amazing response. A quote here I think is really great. I've never even been curious to have one when it comes to a mobile phone, but I do look at my daughters and they show me. They say the picture will make me famous, but I don't get why.
I mean, I need to see this photo.
Come over here. Yeah, come around.
Can you slide
keep
it to me?
rolling? No, you need to come over here. This is for
Allan, get off your ass.
Get off your ass and
Oh,
come over
get
here.
over
Join
there.
me. Join me in this corner that I sit.
I hope it hasn't hurt my chance of saying
Martin needs to see it as well.
The hair is light. The tan. It's.
Hold on, let me just block out everything. Okay, yeah, I see it. So if you do look at this at home, just crop out everything but the face, and then you'll see it.
Yeah.
Although, poor
you go.
woman, bless her.
Back to your seat. Thank you. Please, sir.
So a woman that looks like Donald Trump.
Okay, well, that's quite an interesting one, actually, because I, too, have got a mistaken identity one as well.
Oh, we've got a theme.
But I feel like mine might top Ben's. Here's why. A woman mortified after mistaking her friend's wombat photo for a birth of a newborn baby. There you go.
Sorry, I need to see that. Everyone's doing
Show
photos.
and tell. It's show and tell.
Yeah,
this
show and
time
tell
on the podcast.
today.
Spin your laptop around. Let me have a look.
On an audio podcast, we're doing show and tell. Can we just clarify that?
Oh yeah, this is great audio.
Let me go through my article and I'll show both of you the photos. A woman apparently thought her pregnant friend had given birth after spotting some newborn baby photos on Facebook. How it went off is, "Oh my God, congratulations, he's beautiful. I miss you so much." And the woman replied with question marks. "I didn't look properly. I thought you had your baby. I'm sorry, oh my God." She uses "oh my God" a lot here. And then she tries to recover. "So when are you due?" Just trying to recover, like, "Oh, I can see this at your child. When are you actually due?" But bit of a shame. And I'll show you. It doesn't even look like a newborn baby. As I spin this round to you, it doesn't even look like a newborn baby. It clearly is a wombat.
Who holds a baby like that? I think it'd be a lot worse if it was the other way around. If she did have a baby and they're like, "That's a cute wombat."
That's a nice wombat you got. That sounds like a euphemism and a half. But yeah, that's very strange. We both picked a mistaken identity.
So was she actually pregnant?
Yes, she was pregnant at the time. So there you go. That is my story.
So a wombat that doesn't look like a baby, and elderly Spanish lady that does look like an American president.
There you go.
I think I'm going to have to give it to Martin, I'm afraid. The photo is ridiculous. The way that it's holding the wombat in like a claw, like no one's going to hold a baby like that. Although,
I bring you a national story. I bring you something that's trending on Twitter, and he has a photo that one person
From the Mirror. Mirror.
one person comments on.
Well done, Martin.
Thank you very much.
Ben, you'll be judging next week.
Yay. Well done, Martin.
Thank you
Good
very
job.
much. Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for listening to the podcast on this episode. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. If you have, please tell a friend about it. Tell one person today that you meet in the street, or even a friend of yours. Let them up a podcast. One person you let know could let their friend know, and we could spread the love throughout the Pixel Podcast community. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to get in touch with us about all the things we love, to talk to you about the topics that we share on this, get your opinions, get you involved. So please get involved in the usual ways. That's at 3pixelspod or hello@the3pixels.com, or you can find us on Facebook as well. With that, thank you to Martin for joining us for this week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Allan.
Well, thank you for having me.
Congratulations to Martin yet again. And we will see you guys on the next episode, whenever that may be, probably on a Monday. Just a tip. Subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
You've been listening to the 3 Pixels Podcast, a production by Allan Taylor, Martin Gregory, and me, Ben Ridley. Music provided by Epidemic Sound and exec produced by Abrupt Audio. With that, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Hey, Martin.
Yes.
Have you heard about this hot new podcast? 3 Pixels. Tell a friend.
I will. Ben, you heard about this new podcast?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, it's not very good. It's okay.
Did you see that it's getting worse as it goes down? Alan wasn't that enthused about it, then Martin's less enthused about it.
Yeah.
We're not really giving a great example here, guys.
Well, I told my mum about it not long ago.
Did she tell other people?
She was like, like the typical, that's a cool.
Oh, my mom has no idea what this is.
Does she know what a podcast is?
No, she's not impressed whatsoever. Oh, are you doing your pod thing?
Yeah. My dad says, the first time I ever did this with you guys, he asked me like, oh, do you enjoy it? Well, yeah, I wouldn't do it if I didn't. Oh, okay then. How much money do you get from it, Martin? I was like, I don't really know.
When are we getting paid, Ben?
We get love from the listeners. That's all we need.
You're an intern here, by the way, Martin.
I'm an intern now.
Yeah, you're not full-time staff yet.
I'm going up in the world here. An intern. Whoa, thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.